today. All right, our final topic of the Saturday morning brunch. Woo! Mecole Hardman. My goodness, this has just been a complete crap show. Let's go back to the beginning. So, on the Pivot podcast, which is I guess is a 4-letter network podcast with Ryan Clark, he had Mecole Hardman on. Mecole Hardman was the gentleman who caught the game-winning pass to win the Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was not with the Chiefs the entire season, though. He signed a 1-year contract with the New York Jets, my New York Jets, in free agency last year. He was projected to be the punt returner. He was going to be the gadget guy who kind of be the gadget things in the offense. I believe my theory is he signed because Aaron Rodgers was coming to New York as the quarterback, and he wanted to play with Aaron Rodgers. I don't blame him. That's his
safe bet.
Now, here's the timeline of what happened with him. He gets hurt during the preseason. He injures his hand. I believe he had a broken hand or some sort of injury to his hand, which affected his punt catching ability, his pass catching ability. He got beat out for the punt returner spot by Xavier Gipson, who was an undrafted free agent. He was the guy who he was the player who brought back that touchdown in week 1 after Aaron Rodgers went down 4 plays into the season for the Jets, and he got the walk-off touchdown for the Jets on Monday night. Very emotional game. I was roller coaster. Anyway, so Mecole Hardman was not configured he wasn't configured in the Jets offense, had a very difficult time his tenure with the Jets. And allegedly, sometime during the season, he was texting to the GM in Kansas City and former teammate Patrick Mahomes. He was texting to them with the quote, "Come get me," as in, "Come get me out of New York." Mm-hmm. He says, and I'm going to quote here. This is from the article that was on ESPN. Because I'm telling you right now, I was so checked out, like it was over with. I already talked to Chiefs GM Brett Veach and Brett Veach and Pat Mahomes, like, "Come get me." 2 weeks after he sent that text, he was traded back to the Chiefs for a 6th-round pick. Now, allegedly, there's more. But wait, there's more.
This second part is the one that got me, because he is far from the first player to do that. You can't hold that against him. I mean, it recently brings to memory of longtime Seahawk Earl Thomas, one of my favorites for a long time, but his tenure did not end well with the Seahawks. But I remember there was a particular game where they played the Dallas Cowboys, and after that game, Earl Thomas, who played his college ball at Texas, went into the Cowboys locker room to, congratulate them or whatever. I can't remember if the Seahawks won or lost that game. And the mics picked him up saying, "Come get me." He said, "Come get me," to one of the Cowboys personnel in the locker room. So he is Mecole Hardman is far from the first person to do this. We've heard other stories about it. We've heard people recruiting at the Pro Bowl. I'm not saying it's 100% right, but you can't really hold this part against Mecole. The next part, which you're about to get into, galled me.
So let me get into the tweet that was sent out by Connor Hughes of SNY. And this is what he alleges from several of his Mecole Hardman's former teammates, including Sauce Gardner and Kenny Yeboah. This is a quote. I'm quoting the tweet from Thursday, which came out about 7:44 p.m. Eastern. He says, and I quote, "Yes, I'm told there was validated belief from the Jets that wide receiver Mecole Hardman, frustrated by his lack of usage, leaked game plans to the opposition as implied by several players today. Not just the Eagles game, but also the Chiefs." And he goes on to say, ironically, the Eagles' victory was arguably the best of the season for the Jets, while Zach Wilson enjoyed the best game of his career against the Chiefs. I confirmed. That was the best. That was the best until a best game of his career until that fumble, which saw the Jets not get the ball back. Period. And they would have beaten the Chiefs if Zach Wilson hadn't fumbled, and we had that phantom no holding call, and we also had that phantom holding call on defense. That's neither here nor there. So, yeah, two of his former teammates allege, he leaked plans to the opposition for 2 of those weeks. But wait, there's more. Now, Mecole Hardman comes out yesterday. There's an article by Rich Cimini, who's a beat writer for the Four Letter Network. He comes out and says that Mecole Hardman denied. He issued a denial on Twitter, in which I say, quote, "These were false accusations made about me and my character. To set the record straight, I have never and would never leak game plans to another team. I have never been a person to give an opponent an upper hand. I always want to win, no matter the circumstances." End quote. This is nuts.
Yeah.
This is absolutely nuts. And I have a feeling this is going to affect Hardman's standing as a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
It's also going to affect it. I think if the NFL and the NFL won't investigate this because Kansas City is two-time shout out Booker T.
Yeah, of course,
defending Super Bowl champion. It's also the New York Jets, which the NFL treats like a redheaded stepchild as an organization. So there won't be an investigation into this. That's my feeling about the matter. But if there was an investigation into this, there's possible tampering involved. Mm-hmm. There's possible cheating involved because Lord knows we've seen enough cheating with the New England Patriots between the deflated footballs and the videotape scandal for the Super Bowl when they played the Rams when they won their first Super Bowl. Lord knows there's always some sort of accusations of cheating and tampering and whatnot. And yeah, this is going to definitely affect Mecole Hardman's free agency standing because he is a free agent. He's set to be a free agent on March 14th. If you were a GM, Dustin, would you even reach out to Mecole Hardman?
No, I would not, because the thing is, and we have to say, innocent until proven guilty. This is the way it should work. But if there is truth to this, no, he would be on the NFL equivalent of the blacklist for me. I would not want him on my roster, and I would feel like a lot of NFL GMs and coaching staffs would feel the same way. Why go near it? Because no shade to Mecole. He is talented, without a doubt. He made the NFL. He's good enough to play in the NFL. He's had some success in the NFL, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not think he is considered a number one receiver or even a number two. I think he is like a third option on most plays, even for the Chiefs.
I would say he's better as a punt returner and a fifth option as a wide receiver, and coming out of the slot. As a slot, he's a slot receiver. He's not that big. He's fast, but he's not that big.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be considered a veteran option because he's been in the league for a little bit.
But
I think the only team that'll really take a flyer on him is the Kansas City Chiefs because he's familiar with those players. He's familiar with that system. He's familiar with Andy Reid.
Yeah, and they know him a little bit. There's familiarity there, but let me just put it this way: the first thing that he has said that he did, texting other teams and saying, "Get me out of here," that's enough in some cases for most teams to be like, "All right, I'm not touching that guy because if I don't use him to the degree that he likes, he's going to start trying to search elsewhere. He's not going to want to be here. He's not going to want to be invested. He's not going to want to give us a chance." So maybe I'm being a little strict, but that alone is enough for me to be like, yeah. And then this second part is unbelievable. That's like a psyops operation. You know, we got to get Jesse Ventura from his compound in Mexico to start looking for the documents.
I called Mecole Hardman, and we wanted him to get out of New York because Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't being utilized on that offense. So we had to send him back to Kansas City. I have the papers. I have the papers to prove it.
I built a direct conduit from New York to the basement of Arrowhead. It's going to be, the tunnel is going to be used for the renovations that are about to happen. But I mean, this is, no, I would not bring him in. I would not bring him in. What about you, Ryan? As a Jet fan, you have a little bit more familiarity with Mecole than I do. But I want to hear your thoughts, because I would not bring him in.
I wouldn't bring him in either. I think he's done so much bad will, according to his former teammates, notably Sauce Gardner and Kenny Yeboah. And Sauce Gardner is one of the best, is arguably the best player on the Jets. So if he's saying something about Mecole Hardman leaking game plans to the opposition the day before a game, you got to look into that. But again, it's the NFL, and the NFL is not good. And right now, the golden calf of the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs, because they bring in so much money, so much attention, so many eyes because of the Swifties. And I'm not putting this on the Swifties again. No, again, don't. But you can come at me again. Swifties, Beehive, a band of orcs, same people. But no, there has to be some sort. If the NFL was fair and they treated all 32 teams the same, I would look into it. If I were Joe Douglas, or who's kind of like, this is not, we're not focused on this right now. Although I would put a line into the commissioner if I was Woody Johnson and say, hey, look, can we look into this? Can we do an investigation? Because they did all those investigations on the New England Patriots for so many years, and it backfired. Yeah. Because all we got was the Patriots all day and all night for 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting the same treatment for the Kansas City Chiefs, because they're the golden calf. They're the standard right now. They're the standard. Great. But when you have former teammates alleging of possible cheating and now possible tampering, and you said it, it's on the record. It's on the record on a podcast available to everyone. If you want to download it, but don't download that podcast, because that 4-letter network gets enough scratch. Download our podcast instead.
Yeah, and check out the other podcasts on the Belly Up Network, and take a stop by the Belly Up YouTube channel. We got a bunch of great shows.
Yeah, we
Whatever
do.
your interest is, we have something on Belly Up for you.
For sure.
But also, kick us a download as well.
Or 2 or 10. But yeah, this is something worth looking into, because this is you got tampering, you got cheating. You've got a player on the record saying, yeah, I texted Pat Veach, and I texted Pat Mahomes, or Brett Veach. I texted Pat Mahomes. I told him, get me out of here. And eventually they did. They managed to work it out. They sent a 6th-round pick for this year for Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman, hey, good for you. Caught the game-winning pass in the Super Bowl. Good for you. You got your ring. Good for you. Sorry you had a miserable experience in New York. But that's on you. That's on you. It's not on the team. It's not the New York Jets. It's not on Aaron Rodgers. It's on you to make your experience a good one. And you didn't. You got and this is here's the ultimate shade. Here's the ultimate shade. I got this bookmarked on my Twitter page. And it's from Thomas Morstead, the punter.
Ooh, okay.
You're gonna get bodied by the punter. You did something. You done messed up. And he said on Thursday, quote, "Be careful of getting information from disgruntled former employees. Getting beat out by a rookie free agent after being guaranteed millions of dollars is tough to deal with. Entitlement is a killer of opportunity. You have to earn it every year." Close quote. Pay that man.
Yeah.
Pay that man. If there's like 3 free agents from the Jets I want back, Thomas Morstead's one of them.
Yeah.
Because he absolutely bodied Mecole Hardman in that tweet. Absolutely bodied him.
And Thomas, we know you're a big fan of the show. You're always interested in hearing Ryan's takes on your Jets. Swing by. We'd love to have you as a guest.
Thomas Moore said the true punt god. Not that Matt Ariza guy.